Hello guys, what's up? Stefano here. In this video I'm going to talk about Cartago. Cartago is my first collaboration with Giuseppe Caiazzo from Silience Other Sounds. I'm truly excited to work with Giuseppe. I've always admired his work and I believe this collaboration has great potential for creating amazing things together, and Cartago is just the first step. Okay, now I leave you with a technical video by Giuseppe where he explains in detail how to use the libraries engine. You can already find my playthrough video on the official page where I played a lot of presets, and I'll make more tutorials soon. For now, enjoy this detailed video where Giuseppe dives into the Cartago engine. Happy watching and thank you. See you next. Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Giuseppe Caiazzo from Silience Other Sounds. Today I'm really glad to introduce you our new library Cartago in collaboration with sound designer Stefano Maccarelli. If you are into Kontakt libraries, as I guess you are, Stefano really needs no introduction. He's possibly one of the most influential independent developers of the last years. His works like the Ethera series of vocal libraries, Elements and Kepler, to name a few, are some of the most well-received and successful libraries on the market. He's also a very good friend of mine, so he's extremely welcome here at Silience Other Sounds, and we are both very proud and happy with what we came up with Cartago. So, what is Cartago? Cartago is a Kontakt library built around an extensive collection of ancient, modern and custom-designed cinematic percussions. Cartago features a wide selection of both acoustic and designed percussive instruments, from classic orchestral bass drums, timpani, snares, to custom-built percussion and framed drums, built and recorded by musician and ethnomusicologist Francesco Landucci, who has already collaborated with us on Malaventum Pompeii, Ancient Horns of Rome. Cartago is structured into two instruments, the acoustic percussion sequencer and the design drums kit. The acoustic percussion sequencer is based on 51 different multi-sampled percussions. Each drum features 12 round robins, up to 7 dynamic levels and 3 microphone positions. Moreover, the acoustic percussion sequencer features a multi-step sequencer based on multiple interchangeable patterns in real time, we call them scenes, to create a rhythmic combination on the fly, plus further control like expression, tightness and scale for more expressive dynamic control. The design drums kit is a sound design oriented instrument that features over 2200 one-shot samples. It has been designed to creatively layer, manipulate pre-designed drum and percussive samples and playing them in a finger drumming MPC fashion. The basic concept of the design drums kit can be summarized as: load any sound to any pad, map any pad to any key on your MIDI controller. This allows you to create fully customized kits, both in terms of sound design as performance. On the top of that, Cartago features a total of 270 presets that cover a wide sonic palette, from traditional, ritual and tribal drums to modern and even futuristic percussive sounds. Probably you already watched Stefano's walkthrough video showcasing many of the presets in Cartago. You can find the video here on our channel. In this one, I'll focus more on the nuts and bolts of how the two main instruments in Cartago work. Enjoy! Let's have a look at how the main folder of Cartago is structured, as this is a little different in comparison to our previous libraries. Rather than having the NKI Kontakt instruments saved in a separate folder, in Cartago we find them here in the main folder level. This is because these instruments communicate with the Kontakt utilities folder, so they need to be here and not closed in a separate folder. The Kontakt utilities folders contains vital files for the proper functioning of the instruments in Cartago. Please do not alter its content. The two main instruments, the acoustic percussion sequencer and the design drums kit, are the first two of the list. Then, all the other NKI files are preset of each of the two main instruments. They are differentiated by using the APS and DDK name tags. The APS presets are also available as snapshots in the acoustic percussion sequencer, whereas the design drums kit has no snapshots and all its presets are saved as individual NKI files. Please bear in mind that if you want to save your own instruments in Cartago, they need to be saved at the main folder level, among the factory instruments available. Cartago requires the full version of Kontakt 6.8 or beyond. For Kontakt 6 users, you can open the instruments by using the Kontakt browser on the left. Just navigate to the main Cartago folder on your computer and manually select the instruments you want to use. For Kontakt 7 and Kontakt 8, you can use the new browser. Click on the cogwheel icon, then Add Library, and select the main folder of Cartago. It will show up in the libraries list in the browser, and you can select the instruments from here. The Acoustic Percussion sequencer features 51 multisample drums. Each drum features 12 round robins, up to 7 dynamic levels and 3 microphone positions, close 1, close 2 and room. The microphone position of close 1 and close 2 changes according to the sampled drum. For frame drums, they respectively correspond to front and back, whereas other configurations are used for drums of different size and shape. For each drum, 3 different kinds of hit have been recorded. For larger drums like Taikos, bass drums or bigger frame drums, this corresponds to center, middle and border of the skin respectively, whereas other articulations are featured for smaller drums. The instrument features 3 independent layers in order to combine different percussive sounds with a total of 9 different sounds that can be played from the keyboard. The Design Drums button gives access to this screen. At the bottom right, we found round robins management. It's possible to manually enable or disable round robins, or select a random number of round robins by using the Dice button. Also, we can cycle through the available round robins both linearly as randomly. At the bottom left, we find the dynamic mapping section. The drums in the acoustic percussion sequencer can be mapped vertically or horizontally. Vertical mapping is the most traditional mapping solution for percussive virtual instruments. You can calibrate the velocity curve from the slider here. Simply put, when you, for example, select slow, it means that you need to press harder to get the loader dynamics, and vice versa when fast is selected. In horizontal mapping, the dynamic layers are organized along the keyboard. For each layer, each key corresponds to an individual dynamic zone from left to right. Due to the fact that each drum can feature a different amount of dynamics, the organization of the dynamic layers along the keyboard changes according to the selected drum in any of the 3 available menus. On the top of the design drums screen, we find controls on volume, pitch, tail, stereo pan, and microphones levels for each one of the 3 available layers. The big knob at the center of the main page is the expression knob. It's a powerful control to add a further dynamic dimension to the sounds. By increasing its value, you can hear the effect of multiple drums played simultaneously in a wider stereo image, like a drum ensemble playing all together. Think it as a way to virtually become the conductor of a percussion ensemble, commanding how many drum sounds you want to hear and how hard you want them to play. At the top right of the expression knob, you find a smaller one called tightness. As the name suggests, tightness controls how sharp the additional hits from the expression knob sound. You won't hear any effect of tightness when expression is completely closed, but when it's higher value of tightness confer a more punchy sound. Bottom right of the main screen we find Join and Input Quantize. When Join is selected, triggering a sound in one layer will simultaneously trigger the corresponding sounds in the other layers. As the name suggests, the Input Quantize knob quantizes the incoming MIDI notes against the reference timing in the DAW. It doesn't have any effect if the DAW is stopped or if you are using Kontakt in standalone and the internal clock is off. 4 quantization options are available: off, 4th, 8th, and 16th. Please bear in mind that using Join with higher values of the expression knob can significantly increase the number of voices, which can create CPU overstress on some systems. The multi-step sequencer features a maximum of 16 subtables. Each one can be subdivided in multiple measures to create rhythmic patterns on the fly. A highlight feature of the sequencer is the scenes drop functionality, which allows to trigger in real time 4 different patterns, scenes, to juxtapose and combine different rhythmic parts and creating intricate lines on the fly. This idea takes inspiration from Ableton Live in Performance View, where different audio or MIDI clips can be triggered on the go. Scenes can be designed and edited independently. They can be triggered from the 4 corresponding switches upon the sequencer area, or by a keyboard by using the purple, orange, warm yellow, and light yellow key switches. The scale knob scales the current subtable values, corresponding to velocity, simultaneously. This can be useful to add a further dynamic dimension, for example for effortless and progressive increase or decrease of the whole dynamic. Scale can be attached to the expression knob by using Attach to Scale in the main screen, to further emphasize the dynamic shift in real time. sequencer features load and save pattern functionalities. You can load pre-designed patterns to your currently active scene, and you can save your own patterns to be recalled in following sessions. Please save your pattern in the user sec presets folder. Do not overwrite any of the NKA files that are visible in the pop-up saving window. The FX page in the Acoustic Percussion sequencer features both an FX rack on the left side as a master effects sections on the right side. The FX rack consists in 3 FX slots per layer of drums, 9 in total, organized vertically. It is possible to load insert effects in each slot independently. The available effects are 4 bands EQ, low pass filter, high pass filter, band pass filter, compressor, and transient designer. Each of said effects can be loaded or unloaded in each slot. Additionally, each rack column features a delay send and a reverb send knob. For each drum layer, you can independently set the amount of master effects sends of the replica delay and the convolution reverb. In the master effects section on the right, we find bus compressor, replica delay, and convolution reverb. The convolution reverb features a wide selection of creative impulse responses to creatively design your drums and experimenting with the sound. The basic concept of the design drums kit can be summarized as load any sound to any pad, map any pad to any key on your MIDI controller. Before getting into the details of the design drums kit, a little introduction is needed, as we approached its development in a very unconventional way in comparison to most Kontakt libraries. Rather than being preloaded and pre-mapped, the samples in the design drums kit are dynamically loaded and mapped in Kontakt from the samples folder, according to the user selection. Simply put, when you select a given sound on a given pad, you instruct Kontakt to pick that samples from the samples folder and load it. This means that the weight of the instrument on the RAM of your computer depends on how many samples you load in the kit and how big they are. You can virtually load just one single kick, and the instrument will only occupy a few megabytes in your RAM or less. Besides being more effective for the computer resources, this approach gives you the flexibility to fully customize your drum kit with any of the available sounds. For example, you can load the very same sound on multiple pads and edit independently per pad to create custom layers and sounds, or you can freely assign any of the 16 pads on any key on your controller. Let's start from the DDK-XX kit cleared preset. As the name suggests, it's a completely empty instrument with no sample loaded. You can see this in the memory section in the instrument header, which is equal to 0. In order to add the sound to a given pad, let's say pad 1, let's click on the small edit button in the bottom left corner of the pad, and let's click on the big add sound button. Then we can pick from 5 different categories of sounds: impacts, kicks, snares, percussions and found sounds, and sound effects. Let's go with the cinematic impact. You can see that now the memory occupied by the instrument increases according with what you have selected. By default, pads are mapped from C3 and up, semitone by semitone on your virtual keyboard. However, by using the map sound switch, you can just press where you want the sample to be mapped, and you'll have it there. All the sound categories are color graded, so that you can have a constant visual clue of what's in the kit and where it is. Let's go on loading a few more sounds, and you see that the pads and the virtual keys are populated with different colors according with the sound selection. Most of the sounds in the drum kit are individual one-shots, with the exception of some sounds in the percussions category. Here, the first 51 sounds of the 208 available are multi-sampled, whereas the remaining 157 are individual one-shot found sounds. More specifically, the multi-sampled sounds in the percussions raw sounds category have 5 dynamic layers and 6 available round robins. Due to the multi-sampled nature of several sounds in the percussions raw sound category, loading them takes a little bit longer than one-shots in the other categories. This is the reason why you will see a please wait screen for a very short time when you load sounds in this category. Let's move to the mixer page. Here we find the volume level controls for each pad, plus 3 slots of insert effects available. Similarly to the acoustic percussion sequencer, the featured slot effects are 4-band EQ, low pass, high pass and bandpass filter, compressor and transient designer. You can access to the FX slots corresponding to each pad by using the small P1, P2 up to P16 buttons below each volume level slider. In order to make the workflow of the designer drums kit smooth, the instrument keeps memory of the selected pad when you move between the mixer and the edit page screen. Upon the 16 pads, we find 8 macro knobs. They can be assigned to most parameters in the edit pad and insert effects slots. By clicking on Assign, this screen is showed. Every macro can be assigned to a parameter by using the corresponding menus. The menus resize according to the number of non-empty pads and according to which slot effects are loaded per pad. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, the Design Drums Kit's user instruments must be saved in the main folder of Cartago, which means in the very same location of the factory instruments. Please don't save them in a separate folder, as this will compromise the proper functioning of the instrument. We suggest using the Save As function in Kontakt. So guys, hope you have enjoyed what Stefan and I have shown you so far. We'll be releasing new videos in the next weeks about specific usage of Cartago in various contexts of composition and sound design, so keep an eye on our channels. Thanks for watching.